West Ham turn on the star this past weekend as they continue their unbeaten start to the season. But can anyone realistically cap Manchester City? We're going to take a little look. Today we're taking a look at match number 4 in this year's Premier League with Manchester City flexing their muscles very early in the season. But behind me, CDD. That's right, folks. Bournemouth came in another prediction video today. We're taking a look at match number 4 in the Premier League with Manchester City doing what they do at the top of the bloody table. We'll take a little look at that, all of it, in a second. Of course, if you're new, where you been, stop what you're doing, swallow what you're chewing, smash the old subscribe, keep your bang up to the old things, Rovers related, Premier League related, world football related. We got it all here under one rooski, of course. Alongside, though, Man City is Spurs and West Ham United, making up an unlikely duo in the mix already. But will they be there at the end of this weekend? We'll take a look in a second. A big shout out to my VIPs. They are the patrons. You know who you are. But anyway, let's get into it. All right then, folks, here we go. A recap of last weekend's action, of course, over in the Premier League, with Chelsea finally stepping up to the plate. 3-0 demolition job of Luton Town. Meanwhile, Spurs 2-0 winners over Bournemouth. Not too shabby. Got them on spot on the nose, me. Arsenal could only muster a 2-2 draw against Fulham. It was a bit of an action-pass game. We did get the right amount of goals, though. I went with 4 goals. 4 goals it was, but just split a different way. Meanwhile, Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1. Called it, lads. Absolutely called it. Meanwhile, Everton 1-0 winners over Wolves. Actually, it was the other way. Wolves 1-0 winners over Everton. I went with a 1-0 win the way for Everton. Meanwhile, Man United squeaked past Nottingham Forest 3-2 win. I went with a 2-0 win myself. Brighton got spanked by West Ham at home. 3-1 win it was, with Villa cruising. 3-1 win over Burnley. I went with a 3-0 win myself. Man City 2-1 win over Sheffield United. I went with a 4-0. I think we all did big on that one. And then, of course, Newcastle United lost to Liverpool 2-1 in the end. That's, of course, my picks and, of course, the results. This is what the table looks like right here, right now, with, of course, 3 for 3 for Man City. West Ham, Spurs, Liverpool make up the Champions League spots. Everton, Luton Town, and Burnley going down. Let's end it. End the vote. Right, that'll be double relegation. Sean Dyche and Burnley going down twice. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Let's make that happen. And Luton Town, too, with a couple extra rovers knocking around in the team. That's, of course, that. This is, of course, the Super Brew. Get involved. Cutley4/EPL. It is free. Of course, let's get into it and have a little look at how I and you all got on in the Super Brew right here, right now. Let's get into it and have a little look. It's not great, I don't think, for me, as we look at the third round only. Don't look at this just yet. It's Bones up there, of course, 14 points respectively. Vinny Hung, Georgetown, Len Richmond also up there with 14 points. As for me, where am I? I'm there in 12 points, not too shabby, keeping up the heat there with the rest of the chasing pack. So well done to all of you guys. But what about the overall leaderboard? Let's take a little look at it. Lewis remains number 1. Shepherd still remains in second spot. Matthew 21 up there, but Georgetown is cooking, it looks like, as he hangs around within touching distance. Mo up 1 spot to number 4. Who's the big mover? Dan up 10 spots to number 8. Vinny Hong up 19 spots to 10. We've got Lem Richmond up 23 spots. What about Durkio? Well, where am I? Where am 37th? I actually moved up 16 spots, bitches. I'm coming for you right now. Swansea City 1 up 21 spots to 23. But KG Motow down 34 spots to 49. Shocking stuff there. Who are Russell Frost? He moved up 4 spots as well. And some other stinkers as well. But of course, it is early days, guys. Don't worry about the table right now. Of course, come back into it later on, and we'll see if you can outpredict me this time around. Let's get into it. Of course, these are the next games. Match number 4 are right around the corner. Of course, I'm going to jump into the deep end with these ones. There's some bangers in here, isn't there? A really loaded sort of week out in the Premier League. So let's get into it. Of course, have a look at the first one. And in my eyes, it's going to be Brentford, Bournemouth, of course, coming at you this coming, Saturday on the 2nd of September. Played each other 26 times since 2003. We've got 10 wins for Brentford, 9 for Bournemouth, 7 draws, of course. Brentford, though, 6-0 win, their biggest scoreline over Bournemouth since in those 26 matches. 33 goals scored in those 26 games, 1.27 goals a game ratio. Up against Bournemouth, though, their biggest win, 3-1 win, scoring 26 goals in those 26 games. That's a goal a game average. They're on 42% form right now. Bournemouth, of course, 2 wins of the last 6. Brentford, though, unbeaten in the last 5, 50% form for them over the last 6. That's 1-1 loss and drawn 4. Bournemouth are in 16th spot with just 1 point on the board. Brentford are in 9th with 5 points thus far. Last time around at the Community Stadium was a 2-0 win for Brentford back in January 2023. They're unbeaten against Bournemouth over the last 3, a couple of wins and a draw to boot. And of course, this coming week, Brentford take on Newport County in the Cup. They're expected to win that one. Bournemouth take on Swansea in the Cup, and they're expected to win that one as well. So both these two Premier League sides been busy this week to see if they can flex their muscles once again. We have 13-8 on is your Brentford, 3-1 to the draw, 4-1 is your long shots. That is, of course, Bournemouth. Going to go with 2-1 win here. Brentford at home, no brainer. Burnley up against Spurs, of course. Ange Ball is here. Company ball looks shit at the minute, so we'll see. It's at Turdmore, played each other 23 times, these two sides. 5 wins for Burnley, 14 wins for Spurs, and we've got 4 draws, of course. Burnley, their biggest win, 4-2 win, scoring 20 goals in the 23 games, 0.87 goals a game ratio against Spurs. And Ange Ball, of course, 5-0 win, their biggest, scoring 47 goals in those 23 games, 2.04 goals game ratio. Spurs, though, 75% form for them right now, just 1 defeat past 6. They're in 3rd in the table. Meanwhile, Burnley in 18th spot, no points on the board so far, 1 win in 6 games as well. Last round at Turdmore, Burnley were 1-0 winners, of course, but Burnley are in action against Forest in the Cup this week. They're expected to lose that one, so it could be a tough old slog for them. Meanwhile, Spurs taking on Fulham in an all-London affair, and of course, Spurs are expected to win that as well. So busy a week across the country for football. Right here, right now, what we're looking at, 16-5 is your Burnley right here. We've got 5-4 on is your Spurs, 14-5 is the draw. Going to go with the 3-0 win, big one here for Spurs, and hopefully they could be top of the table. We'll see about that. Next up, we have Chelsea up against Forest coming out at Stamford Bridge. Can Chelsea make it? 2 wins on the bounce, of course. 14 times they played each other since 1984. We've got 8 wins for Chelsea, 2 for Forest, 4 draws at the moment. Meanwhile, Chelsea, their biggest win over Forest, 5-1 win, scoring 23 goals in those 14 games, 1.64 goals game ratio. Up against Forest, 2-0 win, their biggest, 11 goals scored in those 14 games, 0.79 goals game ratio. They come into this on just 1 win in 6, 25% form for them. 14 spot in the table with just 3 points thus far. Chelsea are in 10th, 58% form for them right now, just 1 defeat past 6. And of course, with 4 points on the books right now. Of course, last time around, 2-2 it was at Stamford Bridge back in May 2023. In fact, both games, home and away, were draws last time. Chelsea taking on Wimbledon in the Cup this weekend. They're expected to trounce through them. Forest taking on Burnley. We already mentioned that. And of course, Forest hopefully coming out with a victory on that. Next up, the odds, 5-2 on is your Chelsea, 15-4 is your draw, and 13-2 is your way. When Chelsea red hot favourites here, going to go with a 3-1 win here. And of course, a chance for them to flex the muscles with Pochettino ball and maybe, just maybe, move up the table. Palace up against Wolves, of course, coming at you this coming Sunday, of course, September the 3rd. Played each other, according to my eyes, 41 times since 1983. We've got 17 wins for Palace, 16 wins for Wolves, and we've got 8 draws, of course. Palace, biggest win, 3-0 win, scoring 57 goals in those 41 games, 1.39 goals game ratio. Up against Wolves, 4-0 win, their biggest, 53 goals is scored in the 41 games, 1.29 goals game ratio. Wolves, though, 2 wins of the last 6, 50% form for them right now. They currently find themselves in 15th spot with 3 points on the board so far. Palace, 42% form for them right now. Just 1 defeat past 4, 11th in the table, 4 points on the board. And of course, last round at Selhurst Park, it was a 2-1 win for Crystal Palace back in October 2022. Palace taking on Plymouth, a long away day trip for them. Meanwhile, Wolves hosting Blackpool, and both sides are expected to go through to the next stage. Of course, the odds right here right now, 2017 on is your Palace, 23-10 is the draw, 16-5 is your away win. Could be a long old week for Wolves, 1-0 win for Palace for me on this one, taking the 3 points and moving up the ladder. Next up, we have Luton Town taking on West Ham. What a zinger. This one will be on Friday night. That's right, down at Kenilworth Road. That's their first introduction to Premier League football. They're looking forward to this one. Played each other just once as 2022, and of course it was a draw. That's right. Of course, Luton Town so far no points on the board in 19th spot, 1 win and 6 though for them at the minute. Meanwhile, West Ham 50% form for them right now, 1-2 lost to and drawn to over the last 6, unbeaten on the last 3 heading into this. Of course, this week sees Luton take on Gillingham in the Cup, expected to win that one at Kenilworth Road as well. So a bit of a dress rehearsal for this game. West Ham are not in this one, I think, because of the European action. They have to wait for their first Cup action there. I think they'll be looking at the draw for the European Cup thing, because they're going to be in the Europa League, I believe. Anyway, the odds for this game on, of course, Friday is 4-1. Is your Luton, 10-7 on is your West Ham, 11-4 is the draw. I'm going with a narrow 2-1 win for West Ham. It could be a draw. I'm going to give Luton a bit of benefit of the doubt here. I think Kenilworth Road is where they're going to get their points, and if they can make it a hostile environment, then of course you just don't know. But I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for West Ham. They look good right now. Next up we have, of course, Man City. They're going to be taking on Fulham down at the Etihad. Play each other according to my eyes 36 times in 1999, 22 wins for City, 4 for Fulham, 10 draws, of course. Big Smith for City, 5-0 win, scored 81 goals in those 36 games, 2.25 goals game ratio. Up against Fulham, 3-1 win, their biggest, 35 goals scored in those 36 games, 0.97 goals game ratio for Fulham. Fulham just one defeat past 4 for them, 42% form for them over the last 6. They're in 12th with 4 points on the table. Up against City, 4 wins from 4, top of the table, 9 points from 9. Look A-OK, don't they? However, last time around over at the Etihad, it was 2-1 win. There's no however in that. A 2-1 win it was for City, who have won 6 on the bounce against them. City not in action. Fulham taking on Spurs in the Cup. Could be a long old week for them as they're expected to lose that game. The odds here for this one, 6-1 on is your City, 12-1 is your Fulham, 7-1 is the draw. Going to go 4-0 win, big one as well. City remain top of the pops in my eyes. Next up, of course, we have Sheffield United up against Everton in the, what do we call this? The Dominic Calvert-Lewin derby. That's right. It's the early kickoff at Bramall Lane this coming Saturday. Play each other 9 times since 1993. We've got 2 wins for the Blades, 5 wins for the Toffees, 2 draws, of course. Sheffield United, 2-0 win, their biggest, 7 goals scored in those 9 games, 0.78 goals game ratio. Up against Everton, 3-1 win, their biggest, scoring 12 goals, of course, in those 9 games, 1.33 goals game ratio. Of course, Everton in 20th spot right now, no points on the board so far, 3 defeats on the bounce, 42% form for them right now. The Blades, 4 defeats on the bounce, 70% form for them right now. And last time they played each other at Sheffield United at Bramall Lane was a 1-0 win for Everton back in December. Boxing Day it was in the Premier League. Sheffield United taking on Lincoln in the Cup. They're expected to win that one. Everton taking on Doncaster at the Keepmoat. They're expected to win that one. Both sides will be looking at that to maybe get a bit of momentum moving for this game. The odds right here, right now, we do have Sheffield United 2-1 for the victory, 7-5 is your away win, 21-10. Is the draw. Back in Blaze here with a 1-0 win for them. I think they've been more positive in the transfer market. Gustavo Hamer coming in. They've also brought in Cameron Archer recently. So a good, top-level championship signings. Whereas Everton are making gambles. They're going for gambles, I think. And I think the Blades will get this one, 3 points to the board, and put Dyche under a bit of pressure early doors. Next up, we have probably one of the games of the weekend is Brighton up against Newcastle. Both sides looking to bounce back from their last weekend's matches at the American Express Community Stadium. Played each other 17 times since 2012. We've got 6 wins for Brighton, 5 for Newcastle, 6 draws, of course. Biggest win for Brighton, 3-0 win, scoring 17 goals in those 17 games, 1 goal a game average. Meanwhile, the Geordies, 4-1 win, their biggest, scoring 14 goals in those 17 games, 0.82 goals game ratio. They're in 13th right now, just 3 points to the board, 67% form for them, back-to-back defeats. Moving on, Brighton on 58% form. They're in 6 points on the board, 58% form for them over the last 6. Last time around at the Amex in the league, it was a 0-0 draw back in August 2022. The Geordies unbeaten against Brighton over the last 4, picking up 2 wins and a couple of draws. Brighton taking on Newcastle. The both first sides are not in action because both sides are in Europe, so they'll have a long week to think about this game. 31-20 is your Brighton, of course. 31-20 is your Newcastle. 5-2 is the draw. I'm also going with the 2-2 draw here, right down the middle. I cannot separate them. The bookies can't separate. And can you separate them? Let me know down below. Next up, we have another zinger chicken dinner. It is the Coutinho derby. It's the Steven Gerrard derby. It's the, what other derbies do we have? Plenty other derbies. Plenty other people associated with both of these two sides, of course. Come at you at Anfield. 58 times they played each other since 1993. 34 wins for Liverpool, 13 wins for Aston Villa. We've got 11 draws, of course. Biggest win for Liverpool, 6-0 win, scored 103 goals in those 58 games, 1.78 goals a game ratio. Meanwhile, Villa, their biggest win, 7-2 win, scoring 63 goals in those 58 games, 1.09 goals game ratio. They come into this in 7th spot with 6 points on the board, 83% form for them at that moment, just 1 defeated past 6. Up against Liverpool, they're in 4th, 7 points on the board, just 1 defeated past 6, 75% form for them heading into this last round. Over at Anfield, it was a 1-1 draw. That was back in May 2023. Meanwhile, both sides again are not in Catabetta Cup action. Meanwhile, Villa taking on Hibs. They're pretty much there already after that 5-0 Tonkin last time around, so I expect them to go through. The odds, though, for this game in a bit of a zinger chicken dinner on this one on Sunday is 6-4 on is your Liverpool, 60-5 is your Villa, 10-3 is your draw. On the other hand, I'm going with Liverpool 3-2 win, goal fest, close game, the narrowing of the gap. as I think Aston Villa are in the right hands to move forward. And then I think we have the game of the day or the weekend. It's Arsenal, it's Man United, it's at the Emirates. It's of course on Sunday, the September the 9th. 73 times they played each other since 1993. We've got 22 wins for Arsenal, 34 wins for United, 17 draws. Of course, biggest win for Arsenal, 3-0 wins, scoring 87 goals in those 73 games, 1.19 goals game ratio. Up against United, 8-2 win, their biggest, 113 goals scored in the 73 games, 1.55 goals game ratio. Of course, United, 58% form for them right now, 2 defeats in the last 6, 8th in the table, 6 points on the board. Okay start to the season. Arsenal in 5th, 7 points on the board, 92% form for them, sitting A-OK. Last time around in the Premier League, it was a 3-2 win for Arsenal at the Emirates. That was back in January 2023. The last time United picked up a win at the Emirates, if I can go there. It was back in the FA Cup in January 2019. Both sides not in cup action, of course. All eyes on this one this coming Sunday. 4-3 on is your Arsenal, 7-2 is your away win, 13-5 is the draw. I am going with a draw here, point apiece. Ten Hag under a little bit of pressure. Arsenal will take the point and move on to the next one. And that, my friends, completes the set in my eyes. And as you can see, if I'm right, this is what the table will look like. City top the popsicle, Spurs in second, West Ham in third, and then Liverpool and Brentford make up the top 5. Going down, Luton, Everton and Burnley. Once again, stop the bloody count. Let those 3 guys go down below. Of course, that is the link to the Super Brew. I'll see you there, of course, and hopefully I'll see you back when we return from the international break. Looking forward to the next round of matches in the Premier League. But until then, guys, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. And I'll see you next for the next one.